You've cooked all these turkeys. What's your favorite out of everything?
I'm going to say that turkey breast would be my favorite. My favorite way to cook a turkey is probably just a whole smoked turkey on a pellet grill. But just for eating purposes, that breast is the way to go.
Welcome to Malcom Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcom and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcom Reed, joined by my lovely Saints fan, Shell. What's up with that? Talented wife, Miss Southern Shell.
I bought this hat like last weekend.
Yeah, you did. And then we got Jacob with us today. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good. What's going on?
It was Veterans Day on Monday.
It was. Had a nice parade here in town. It's always good to see people come out and supporting the veterans. We appreciate everything they've done for us. We wouldn't have this podcast if it wasn't for our veterans. So y'all be thankful.
Yeah, I wouldn't have much.
That's right.
And you know, we have a lot of veteran fans.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of military people like to barbecue.
A lot of military likes to barbecue. Imagine that.
Yep. We support our troops wholeheartedly.
World Food Championships was this past weekend.
Was it?
Or this past week.
You know what I did see? Michelle, our friend Michelle O'Gwen. Shout out to Michelle. She won. I don't know which division it was, but I saw she had 2 calls.
Really?
One was in the Women's Fire Challenge, and then the other one, she won first place in her category.
Really?
So,
oh, that's awesome. You don't know what that
on.
Category was.
I don't. And I didn't look at any of the other results. I just happened to notice that on Facebook. I saw she posted it. So shout out to Michelle.
If you give me 1 second, I could probably
been up on my food sports here.
I think she won. She won the World Live Fire Championship.
Heck yeah, that's a big category.
Yeah. You know who got 5th in that?
I do not.
Hottie Toddy.
Really?
Hottie
Congratulations, Ronald.
Yeah.
Awesome job, Ronald.
That's a really cool event.
Yeah, I liked it several years ago.
I loved it.
Yeah. You like being in the kitchen under pressure, didn't you?
Yes, it was fun.
It's not my cup of tea.
You're more
it is
of
fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had a blast doing it.
You more like to cook and hang out and take it slow and easy.
Yeah,
and
just have fun with it.
Yeah. It's like being on Chopped, Chopped.
Yeah. To me, it's not like Chopped. It's more like Iron Chef.
Okay, Iron Chef.
Because they know what they're cooking. Like, well, I mean, I guess, I don't know, Iron Chef, they give them mystery ingredients too, but
Oh, whatever.
With World
they
Foods,
know.
you know what you're cooking. I mean, you've rehearsed it and practiced it. It's just going and executing it. The trick is, does their kitchen work?
Yeah.
Does everything in there work? Because you fight, you never know what kind of grill. It ain't like you're bringing your own equipment, or it used to be. I don't know what it's like now. Where was it this year?
Indianapolis.
Okay. Indiana.
Yeah. So
it's not too far from Jay's place up there.
He should have gone and cooked. It was an adrenaline rush. I loved it. As soon as it was over, I was like,
I'm gonna sign you up.
Let's do it again.
Go. Yeah. We'll send you over there next year.
I need help. I need support.
Sure, you can recruit some people.
So this week you did a turkey breast. Oh,
I did. That was another Thanksgiving recipe. One of Kevin's turkey breasts. It don't get no better than those things. I hope he is selling a truckload of them because they are every bit as good as advertised. I promise you.
So you've cooked all these turkeys?
Yep.
I mean, every way. Every year you're like, I got to find a new way to cook a turkey. What's your favorite out of everything?
I mean,
you're going to get that turkey breast.
If I'm gonna eat it like on Thanksgiving, I'm gonna say that turkey breast would be my favorite. My favorite way to cook a turkey is probably just a whole smoked turkey on a pellet grill. But just for eating purposes, that breast is the way to go. The way to go.
And it's easy to carve. It's easy to serve.
Yeah. There's no waste to it. I mean, it's nothing. You get the package and it's froze. Typically, that's how they sell them. You thaw them out, slow thaw them in the fridge, and the only thing you do is open up the cryovac, and then it's a whole turkey breast, no bones, but the skin's still over the top of the whole thing. So I always jerk that off. So is it
one piece of skin?
It's one piece of skin, 2 lobes. So you got a right lobe and a left lobe, no bones.
How come they're not the same size.
I don't know. You got to ask God that. He didn't make,
But it's
he didn't
definitely
make breasts the same way on both sides, turns out.
be that way sometime.
Yeah, that's a right-handed turkey. Or left-handed. Imagine, I don't know which one would be bigger, the less dominant or more dominant.
I was thinking they just came from two separate turkeys.
They may. I don't know. You don't
But if there's one piece of skin,
excuse me. If it's one piece of skin, you'd think it'd come from the same bird.
yeah.
Leads me to believe. But they could be just cutting these things out, putting two together, putting some old other skin around it and running it. I don't know. Whatever they're doing, it's fantastic. I am not complaining. It is good. It's better than a butterball any day. So I've cooked the whole, like butterball breast or whatever.
Yeah, the bone in.
And they're okay. They don't let them, like, you're not going to find them that big. Like, you need to cook a 20-pound one of those to get to the size of these two. Because, I mean, these weigh probably about,
They were monsters.
imagine they're 10 pounds
10 pounds
total,
each.
No, not each.
Okay, 10 pounds total.
Yeah, each one's probably, usually there's a bigger one and a smaller one. And, the bigger one's usually probably, I'd say it's 4 or 5 pounds anyway. The smaller one's probably about 3. So it's a pretty big breast.
Do you think,
Come off some big turkeys,
how big do you think that turkey is if the breast weighs?
20+ pounders.
Okay.
It's not the little 10 to 12s that I like to cook whole. It's just a bigger bird.
How tall do you think it is?
Oh, shoot, I don't know. I don't know how tall.
Are we talking 3 foot, 4 foot?
No, I don't know. Turkeys ain't that tall. Neck stretched out. I don't know. Some of them got pretty long necks on them. I've never checked the height of a turkey. Let's go with 2.5 feet.
Okay.
He's 30+ inches tall.
What's the size of turkeys that y'all hunt and kill?
Depends how long the legs are.
Okay.
No, I mean, they're about
Not
that high.
height,
Yeah.
weight.
Oh, 20, usually about 20 pound. A 20-pound turkey is a full-grown turkey
Okay.
in the wild.
So you're saying that these turkeys are probably about that size?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Okay.
At least. Because the breast is so big, The breast we get off a wild turkey is about that size.
Is it?
Yeah. I get two big breasts off one of them. They're about the same size. These may be a little bigger.
But that's
But not
ballpark.
much. They're in ballpark, yeah.
I was just trying to come up with a visual because in my
I've
mind,
actually got one wild turkey breast left in the freezer. But I've never done those for Thanksgiving. I've always done store-bought for Thanksgiving. Usually those get fried.
yeah,
I've never, you know what? I might need to do that.
you do something where you take it and you cut it up and you fry it and toss it in some sort of sauce.
It's like bang bang sauce.
Bang bang turkey.
Yeah, it's like you take Blue Plate mayonnaise, best mayonnaise on the planet, quality since 1927. Just go ahead and get that in there.
If you if you're choosing mayonnaise this weekend, make sure to choose Blue Plate.
Absolutely. But you take it's a mayonnaise based sauce with like sriracha and sweet Thai chili, and it makes, if you've ever had like the appetizer bang bang shrimp, same kind of sauce.
You can find those everywhere now. I think it's like a
really, really good.
Yeah, they are.
Toss fried turkey nuggets in it. Shoot, you doing some good eating. That's a deer camp food. You'd have to go over to Buck Junkie to see that. Pretty sure I did it over there, didn't I? Yeah, that's where I did it.
So, back to Thanksgiving turkey breast. Do you think that there's different rules to cooking the turkey breast than there is a whole turkey?
I don't know about different rules, but it's
Different method, different procedure.
same technique. It just cooks a little faster.
But you cooked this one lower.
Well, because I'm not trying to get the skin just right. So you can slow it down a little bit. It would have cooked. It would still cook at 350, I think. But like my smoking on the Outlaw, it likes to run at 275, and it's the perfect temp for cooking breasts like that. They come out perfect. So that's why I do them at that.
Okay.
That's like trial and error where I figured out where I like to cook them. If I was cooking it on drum, I'd still be cooking at 275. If I was cooking on pellet grill, I'd probably put it on 250.
Oh, really?
Yep. Just because I know I'm moving a lot of air.
So there are different rules.
Yeah, but I mean, it ain't really a different rule. I never thought about turkey rules. What's rule number 1 in a turkey?
Brine it. I guess
Is it?
remove the
Okay.
giblets. I don't know.
Slow thaw it in the refrigerator would be my rule.
Thaw it in
number
the
1.
refrigerator.
And then rule number 2 would be get in a brine. I got this turkey breast in a brine. So I did. I mean, it's simple. It's like half a bottle of bird brine and 1 gallon of water will cover 2 breasts. And if I was using 2 gallons, I would use the whole bottle. Per 1 gallon, I usually think half a bottle is a good solution. And mix that up in like a Kool-Aid pitcher or tea pitcher. put the breast down in a meat bag, drop it in the briner bucket, pour the brine over it, make sure it stays weighted down with the little disc thing, plastic that goes in there, and then stick it in the refrigerator.
How long do you brine the breast?
I would say 12 hours would be ample. There's no use in going any more, but you could probably 4 hours would be minimal. I just stick it in there and let it go overnight. That's what we did. I don't know if you can tell the video, but it's like we just got a clip of me putting that in there real quick, stick it in their fridge, and the next day is when I get it out and we're shooting the whole video with it. So the day I'm taking it out, I just let it drain really good, and I put it out on paper towels and just try to get all the moisture off of it I can. Sometimes there's some herbs and peppercorns and stuff, and you can sit there and pick that stuff off if you want to. I don't think it hurts, so I don't take too much care making sure I got every little thing that was in that brine, the herbs and stuff, trying to get it off the turkey breast. I don't think it makes that big a difference if some of that's on there still. So give you a little flavor, make a little crust.
So aside from pulling the skin off, do you do any other trimming?
I mean, the only trimming I do, sometimes there's some extra sinew on it, and you want to take that off just because that's kind of a barrier. And if there's any things hanging, I try to make it to where air is going to flow even. Just think about how you cook a brisket, and you don't want to make any sharp edges. You want the airflow to be able to hit the meat and just kind of flow over it, not be stopped by anything. So I just try to make it aerodynamic.
And remove any barriers.
Yeah, remove any barriers that's on the outside. If there's some fat hanging off, trim that off. If it doesn't, sometimes you got to think these things have been cut off the carcass. So there's going to be a little jaggedy on the bottom side. Sometimes I'll take my knife and just kind of smooth that out a little to where it'll lay flat really easy. But I just want it to look good because, if it looks good when it goes in, it's going to help it look good when it comes off. And that's the only reason for doing it. I have been in a pinch, took them out of the package, seasoned them up, put them on. Not even browned them, not injected them, not do anything. And
they're pretty good that way.
They're good that way too. But the brine really, really helps. It helps you get some flavor down in that meat. And you could inject these too. If you want to make up an injection or buy like one of the, the Cajun Creole butter injections.
You've done that before. You didn't have time to brine it. You grabbed it, injected
That's usually when I do inject. When I don't have time for the full brine. But on a whole bird, man, I'll brine it and inject it. Why not? Make it really good.
So, for seasoning,
here's all I did. I like to hit it with the fat on the outside, so I use a cooking spray. You could, whatever you like. If you want to put oil on it, whatever. You want something that's going to just help it stick, and it does kind of help that outer surface. It gives it a little reason to brown, having that fat on there. And I seasoned it with some King Crawl, just some Cajun seasoning. And then I like a little texture on it. So I come back over it with some coarse ground TX rub to give it that salt and pepper kind of outer crust. So it's kind of a play on a Texas style turkey breast with more of a little Cajun flavor. And then at that point, it's just super easy. Throw it on the pit. I'm running 275. I've had hickory splits. You could use whatever wood you want on turkey. It's really, really good with just about any kind of wood. Even mesquite works great with turkey.
Mesquite smoked turkey. Yeah, it was pretty good.
So you could use whatever flavor you want to do. Pecan's a good choice. Hickory's a good choice, of course. Any kind of fruit wood, even mesquite. So that gives you a lot of options on wood, or pellets. If you're doing pellets, you could use just about any pellet too. So once it's on the pit and we're running 275, I just kind of watch it for the first hour. And what's going to happen is first it's going to start drying out, which you want, and then the seasoning is going to kind of adhere to it, and it's going to start browning a little bit. And when it does all that, usually in about an hour, it's ready to wrap up because you want to get it cooked through and through to where it's really tender and really juicy, and wrapping it is going to help that.
Would you say it's kind of like, how when ribs, you'll know it's time to wrap a rib when you
touch it and the seasoning doesn't rub off, you can absolutely do that little trick there. Rub the outer surface just kind of on the side. If that seasoning feels like it's adhered to it, it's kind of starting to make that bark, that's what you want. And at that point, we just want to get it done and keep as much moisture inside it, because the whole time this turkey's been cut off the bone, it's wanting to push its moisture out to get done. You're losing a lot of it. And so my thinking is if I get it wrapped up in foil, I can add some extra moisture to it. I can add some more flavor, and it's going to help hold all that in, and I'm not just losing it in my pit. So if I need some au jus at the end to put back over the slices when I get it carved up, I've got it. and it's usually really, really good.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do.
Well, you put a stick of butter in there. It's gonna
That's
be
exactly right. That's what makes it so good. So the only thing going in my wrap extra is one stick of butter, and I take that butter and I cut it in half long ways and lay it on the foil. And I'm doing a double layer of aluminum foil to make sure everything stays inside. I lay the turkey breast down and I pour about half a cup. I just kind of eyeball it, but you don't need much more than half a cup of liquid in there with it, because you've got that. What's a whole stick of butter? Is it a half a cup when it's melted?
Yeah.
So you've got that. And then if you add a half a cup of chicken broth, you've got some buttery, chickeny goodness going on, a whole cup of it, plus whatever juice is coming out. That's making a pretty good bit. And at that point, I go ahead and put my meat probe in so I don't have to go through the full. And I want to just go in the thickest part of that breast and run it out. And it usually has a wire on it. So then I wrap it up tight. That way I don't have to open that foil anymore to check and see if it's done. I don't have to puncture it. It's good to go. Then they go back on the pit, and I plug my little probes up to my ThermalWorks dots, and I just let it rip until it gets to 160. It's easy. That's the only temp I'm worried about. And the reason why I take it to 160 is because I want to stop it a little bit shy of what's done, because I know there's going to be carryover. Just like with any meat, these turkey breasts are going to carry over too. And they're big enough to where they're holding a lot of heat, especially in that full, that they're going to go about 7 degrees or 5 to 7 degrees over where you take them off, and they're going to be perfect. And so that's how I figured it out.
That would mess it up. That would be the one way you could mess those turkey breasts.
Dry them out. Exactly.
Take them up.
Now, brining them is going to give you a little leeway. They're really holding on to moisture there. And then wrapping them in the aluminum foil with the butter and chicken broth is going to make them moist too. So you're kind of, if you do screw up and you overcook these things, they're still going to be pretty daggum good. Now, I've always taken them off in that 160 range just because I want it to be as moist, and I want those slices when I cut it just to be oozing with moisture and flavor. And that's what they are. They're so good. I hope you could tell in the video how juicy that turkey was, because it was phenomenal.
So because one of them's bigger and one of them smaller, they typically cook, Yeah,
it's going to cook. The small one's going to cook faster.
One thing I've noticed about these turkey breasts is they are a lot easier to hold than a whole turkey, than a regular turkey.
Yeah. Well, they don't take up as much space for one. But like
you don't have to worry about skin getting
messing up
soggy,
Yeah, it's all edible. Everything's edible on it.
You could throw it in a cooler and just like a brisket, take it with you.
I would say that big turkey breast would probably, just one side of it, the big side, would have been enough to feed 8 people, no problem.
Yeah.
Maybe 10.
Yeah.
A good sized portion of turkey. You all would have probably gotten at least 8 ounces of turkey. And that's a lot of turkey.
And you got the other one for leftovers.
Yeah. That's why I like cooking both of them. Go ahead and cook both of them, because you might get into it, but it also, like, there's usually, if you cook one of them and you got some people that are ready to eat Thanksgiving, it's going to be eat pretty fast. Because everybody's going to want to go back, and they're going to want to make a plate with that.
Yeah.
So it's just added insurance.
Well, at Thanksgiving, you typically got a plate's worth. You got a couple casseroles, a salad or two.
You got all the good stuff.
Rolls.
All the good stuff. Then you got to save room for
dressing,
desserts.
gravy, huh?
Well, turkey's usually not the highlight at Thanksgiving. It's everything else. But for me, when you cook this turkey, man, just give me that and some dressing and I'm happy.
Are you doing a ham and a turkey this year?
Absolutely. And I'm probably going to do a whole bird, a turkey breast, and then a ham.
At least one ham.
That's just for our family that I'm taking over to my mom and dad's. I don't know what we're going to have egg bowl day.
I guess hot dogs, because we're going to the egg bowl.
How about them Rebels? What a weekend. Both my teams win.
Yeah.
Vikings pulled it out barely in Jacksonville, and then the Rebels just put on a defensive showcase in Oxford against the Georgia Bulldogs.
That was the best game I've seen all season, I think.
It was. I mean, for me, it was.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I kept expecting Georgia to come back. I was like, oh.
Here it comes.
Oh,
here it
Rebels
comes.
are going to fall off. Georgia's going to come back.
Not today, dogs. Were you pulling for the Bulldogs since you're a Bulldog fan? Does it go across?
No.
Does Bulldogdom go across state lines?
No.
It doesn't?
No, the Bulldogdom does not translate to different colleges.
Like, I'd pull for UNLV, they're the running Rebels. Why not?
I mean, if Georgia is playing, you know,
You're
a big,
that's a SEC affiliation.
Yeah.
Ain't got nothing to do with the dog species.
yeah, I'm always going to go SEC first.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So,
how did your Bulldogs do? They didn't do too good, did they?
Well, it's not our year.
Hey, they covered.
Yeah, that screwed me up.
In your pick'em league?
Yeah, I'm having a horrible year in my pick'em league. I'm getting beat by children and people that don't even watch football. It's been a crazy year.
It's been a good year.
All right, so Michelin just released, you know, Michelin.
The tire company?
Well, the food, yeah, it is the tire.
It's not really the tire company, is it?
Yeah.
No way.
Yes.
That's all the same. Like they make tires and they give chef ratings for restaurants?
Yes, they started it like years ago.
I had no idea.
The whole point of that was to encourage people to travel, to try
to have to buy tires for their cars?
Tires. Okay. So that's how it kind of started.
I did not know that. That's a fun fact.
Oh, I didn't. I figured you would know that.
No. I mean, I don't think I'll ever have a Michelin star because I'm not a chef and don't have a restaurant. But
okay, so Michelin just released a Texas guide, and there was 4 barbecue joints that received stars. Real stars.
I guarantee you, Ernest got one.
He got so they have like 17 that are called Bib Gourmands, which is like it's like a special mention. You don't actually get a star, but he had got one of those.
So who did they give them to? Is there any place we've been to?
No.
Oh.
There's a couple places we've been to that have like the special mention, I guess you call it. La Barbecue. That one's always been on our list, and we've never gotten there, but they got a star. Interstellar Barbecue, Corkscrew Barbecue, Leroy and Lewis Barbecue.
Okay.
So that's, I think John Lewis, one of theirs. They're all Texas. And so they have 17 that they've given, the Bib Gourmand mentions to. Total barbecue joints. They're all in Texas.
Really? So they don't, if you're not in Texas, they're not giving you one.
Yeah.
That's a little biased, don't you think?
I mean, Texas.
Does that mean that the best barbecue comes from Texas? Is that what they're trying to say?
I would say that's what they're trying to say.
We'll beg the differ on that.
I mean, there are some really good barbecue joints in Texas, but there's good barbecue joints other places.
There's good barbecue joints all over the place now.
What's a Memphis restaurant that would you give a star to?
That's tough. Barbecue shop, maybe? Cozy Corner?
Cozy Corner, I'd come closer. Yeah.
I mean, these ain't fancy. Like, does part of it have to be fancy?
No, you do not have to be fancy.
Yeah. Food?
You don't have to be expensive. You don't have to be fancy. But you have to have like the service, the atmosphere. You have to have a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not just, is the food good?
Memphis barbecue is pretty good as far as the food goes.
Yeah.
I mean, the atmosphere is good. It's just always crowded. It's more of a touristy feel. I don't know. I have to give Rendezvous one for atmosphere, though. Even their barbecue's not that great. They've got some good stuff on the menu.
It's
just different.
Yeah. I've never been to a Michelin star restaurant.
I hadn't either.
I'm going to make that my new mission.
To go to one. I see.
There's no one close around here. There's Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago. That's about the closest we got to us.
No Memphis. There's not one in Memphis.
No.
There's not one in New Orleans?
I didn't see one. I mean, I didn't dig in super deep, but.
Yeah, I'm going to have to call bogus on that if New Orleans doesn't have one.
Well, I went to a restaurant this weekend in New Orleans, and I was a little disappointed.
What was it? Which one was it?
Restaurant Revolution.
It wasn't as good as it has been.
We'd gone before, and I was like, wow, this is my new favorite restaurant in New Orleans. And this past time.
What was it? The ambiance, the service? What was it? The food?
A little bit of both. And my fish was fishy.
Yeah.
And they came over and said, ma'am, is there something wrong with your fish? And I was like, because I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to be like, send it back or anything. And I was like, yeah, it's a little fishy.
What'd they say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even think they said I'm sorry.
No, you know what they said?
What?
I was sitting right there. I was just going to see if you would say it. He was like, somebody else has complained about that too, and just walked off.
He picked it up and walked off.
Yeah. I mean, what do you? I guess you take it off. You offer them something else, but you wouldn't have took it at that point.
So that's happened to me before. A few years ago, we were at a nice restaurant. It was a big group of us at a nice restaurant in Nashville, and I'd ordered crab cakes, and I took a bite, and I was like, mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, tried everybody else's sides, and,
Yeah. Had your appetizer.
Yeah, didn't say anything about it.
Waited for dessert.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best way to do it. I'm not going to send one back either. I don't care. But you get on the list, though.
Yeah.
Not going to be as a hurry to go back to that one, right?
But the waiter came over, and he was an excellent waiter, and he said, "Is there anything wrong with your crab cakes?" I'm like, "They're fishy." And he was like, "I'm so sorry. Can we get you something else? We're taking it off the bill."
That's kind of what the appropriate response.
I feel like that too.
Well, I mean, when that entree's $100,
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This ain't Wendy's.
Yeah. Expect it to be perfect for the person that ordered it.
Did you have anything good in New Orleans last weekend?
A bunch of good stuff. A lot of it was liquid. No, my highlight was probably going to, first time I've ever been there, but just happened to be close to the hotel we were staying in. It's called Luke. And I think it was a Pesh restaurant.
It was a John Besh restaurant. And he walked through the restaurant that night.
I met him.
And you met him.
You bought him shots. Well, I bought a bunch of people. Well, they were having like, this was Sunday evening after we'd went to a football game, and we'd stopped in there just to get some cocktails and some raw oysters was our plan. And they were doing like an outside street party for veterans. I guess they were having the party on the night before. And I didn't know it, but I heard them in there doing shots and chanting at the bar. So I just walked up and I was like, "Hey, I'd like to buy those guys around, just put it on me." And I didn't think,
because you knew they were veterans.
Yeah, I knew they were veterans. And then I didn't know nothing about it. Well, a couple of them came over and was just saying thank you. And Chef Pesh was one of them. And I didn't know him from Adam, but he was.
You didn't recognize him?
No, I didn't.
When he walked through you were over there talking.
Yeah. Well, I could see one of the guys recognized me. He's one of the Marines. He was like, "Hey, you know a guy named Trent Ellis?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, I know Trent. He's done some of the hunting stuff with us that we do on Buck Junkies, and we've had him up to the camp, and he's been to the smokehouse and stayed there and all that." He said, "Man, that's one of my good buddies from, I guess he has served overseas with him in Fallujah, or somewhere like that," he said. And so I was just talking to those guys, and, thanking them for what they did. And then, so he comes up and he says, "You didn't buy these guys over here a drink, did you?" And I was like, I said, whoever was down there at the end of the bar, they were all, chanting or whatever they were doing, celebrating. That's who I bought one. He said, "Well, these guys are imposters." This was the chef telling me this. And I wasn't trying to get into all that. So I just went and sat down.
I think he was enjoying himself a little bit.
Oh, yeah. They were having a time.
I
was too now.
I saw him a few people kind of get him out of there pretty quick when he started stumbling around.
I don't know how many oysters we ate. I think our table started with 3 dozen, and then I got a tower too, and it had a bunch of oysters on it too. That was all I had for dinner.
Those oysters are really good.
So good. You got steak frites. It was a hanger steak. The highlight of that was the mayo sauce for the frites.
I've got to figure that sauce out. So it tasted like mayonnaise and brown butter mixed. Which is pretty much two of my favorite things.
It was really, really good. Oh, something else that was good? I had some seared tuna at the game. It was fire. It was so cool. It was so good.
You were like, "Go eat that tuna. It's really good." I was like,
Yeah. Normally if I tell you that in a stadium, it's probably not that good. This was really, really good.
So I went over there and looked at it. I was like, "Oh, I'll give that a shot."
I got to do something we'd never done. It was go to one of the suites. And so but that morning, the game, we had to be there at 11, I think.
Yeah.
It was like an hour before kickoff. And in New Orleans, we don't set no alarm clock. So we didn't have time. I think we stopped, got a Bloody Mary on the way walking to the stadium. And then we went on in. I said, they'll have some food there, but it'll probably be like hot dogs and not, And
I was fine with that. I was looking forward to that.
Chicken strips or something like that. Man, and this suite we were in, they started with it had a big giant shrimp cocktail, had that seared tuna, salad station, and then they had gumbo.
Braised short ribs and mashed potatoes.
Those were fire. They had brisket sliced and sauced. You could make a sandwich or slider or whatever. Had a full
bread
king
pudding.
cake, New Orleans style bread pudding. It was off the chain. Like you didn't have to go out to the concession stand. I didn't even see a concession stand. Did you? Not where we were.
The brisket slice. It was Sadler's.
Yeah, it was. They didn't smoke brisket, but it was pretty good. That was not the highlight. The tuna was way better.
Yeah, the tuna was the best.
And if that was like some food service tuna, man, hands off to those people because that was fire.
It was. Would you call it seared ahi tuna?
Yeah,
that's what it was. It was the kind that has the little seeds and
sesame seeds
on the outside.
Served with like this. I don't know. It was almost like a teriyaki glaze or something that you dipped it in.
They also had a creamy,
I didn't try that one.
Yeah, it was like a yummy type sauce.
It was good.
Yeah.
This was like sushi grade tuna. It wasn't it was no joke. It was fire.
It was better than my fish Friday night.
That and a bunch of Maker's Mark made a good day to watch the ball game.
Well, Mal, this will be a good time to pay some bills.
How to Barbecue Right podcast is brought to you by our friends at Primo Grills. Shell, did you know that Primo is the only ceramic grill made right here in the good old USA?
What? Are you telling me that Primo Grills are proudly crafted here in the USA, ensuring top-notch quality and support for local craftsmanship?
I sure am. Plus, Primo Grill not only delivers mouth-watering flavor, but because of their innovative oval design and superior ceramic construction, Primo Grills also gives you a ton of cooking versatility.
Whether you're smoking low and slow or searing a steak to perfection, Primo Grills gives you the consistent heat distribution for mouth-watering results every time.
What she said, y'all. Y'all visit PrimoGrill.com and check them out.
You know, it's soup weather.
Soup weather?
Okay, so this got me thinking, last week we made a vegetable soup?
Because it was raining and nasty outside, the temperatures were a little bit cooler finally. It was soup weather.
And we had gone and had, or we had cooked steak.
No, we went to Como.
Yeah, we went to Como and had a bunch of leftover steak. And so that's what we put into our vegetable soup.
It made a great vegetable soup.
It made perfect vegetable
ribeye
soup.
Steak, cold ribeye steak the next day, cubed up, and then make a soup with it. It was really, really good.
That might be my favorite way to use leftover ribeye.
Yeah, and usually you don't say that. Those two words don't go together, do they? But at Como Steakhouse, the steaks are so big. If you can eat one of them ones, you're doing it. We both had a pretty good bit of steak left over. Mm-hmm. It was enough to make a big pot of soup. So what's your recipe for steak soup? Do you remember what you did?
No. I sauteed some veg.
I chopped up the vegetables.
It was onions,
celery,
carrots.
And then we did green beans and corn and potato. I chopped up some potatoes and put in it. And I'd cooked some peas that we'd had. It was just in our refrigerator that were left over. It was like, I don't know, I think they were purple whole peas.
I was like, them in there.
Peas in there. That'd be good. You know, whatever you got. That's how our soup always went as a kid.
Oh, that's how my grandmother made it.
We had vegetables.
It was leftover day.
And it was like whatever vegetables were left over from 3 or 4 days of dinners that were in all kinds of butter dishes or Cool Whip bowls. They were never, you didn't know what it was. You said, oh yeah, this will go in soup.
Oh, my grandmother would have spaghetti noodles in there.
See, I didn't like that. That's like
she put anything
garbage
in there.
Disposal soup. I just like vegetable beef soup. And it could be hamburger meat. It could be roast. Like a lot of times we'd have like roast one day for dinner. And whatever roast was left with the roast vegetables, that would be the starter of the soup. And then my mom would add stuff to that. And then you'd cook some cornbread and that was dinner. And that's what we did. I cooked the cake cornbread and we made soup. And
it was just some tomatoes.
Oh yeah. Canned tomatoes. Gotta have canned tomatoes.
And beef broth.
We put a package of, beef stew seasoning, and I come back and doctored it a little.
I did
with
too.
Some AP, hit it with a little bit of prime beef.
I think we both did. And I add that kitchen assistant. It's like
squeezy bouillon stuff. Yeah.
The beef concentrate.
How much liquid did you put?
I don't remember.
Was it like 4 boxes of chicken broth?
No, it was beef broth, and I think it was 2. I think it was only 1.5 because I did add tomato sauce too.
Canned tomato sauce. Yeah. 2 big cans of. You like to do the whole tomatoes.
I do.
And then let them break down in the soup.
Yes. Well, the whole tomatoes are your higher quality tomatoes, canned tomatoes wise. Mm-hmm. The whole tomatoes are your higher quality tomatoes.
So you think that makes it better? Or when you're making another recipe, do you buy those and chop them up if you need them?
I will. But like if I'm doing chili, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm just buying the diced. It's usually what I do. I would have done that for the soup. I'd kind of loosely wrote you a shopping list of what we needed. And I think you stopped in there and got everything.
I feel like vegetable soup's just one of those things you just start dumping.
It's not yeah. I can put you on the start of a great recipe for it, and then you can make it your own.
What, leftover ribeye?
Yeah.
That's the great
Leftover
start.
Como Steakhouse steak.
I'm a big fan of buying soup from like Sam's Club or Aldi because they come in the little tubs.
Yeah, like the tomato soup and the potato soup.
Buy those and doctor them up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easy way. They used to have a lobster bisque at Sam's that was really good. I'd add a little extra butter, a little king crawl, touch of hot sauce, kind of really, kick
Some
it up.
shrimps.
Yeah, you could add some shrimps. Same thing with their tomato soup.
That's the one I like. Tomato soup and grilled cheese, man. That's a good combo.
A good one. Yes.
Why is that such a good combo?
I don't know. Do you ever dip your grilled cheese in it?
Absolutely. I'm a dipper.
Aldi has a really good soup. It's a tomato feta.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good. I like a good tomato basil too.
What about French onion?
I never order French onion out. Oh, we did have turtle soup this weekend.
For the first time, yeah, I tried that at Revolution. It was okay. I don't know if I'd order it.
It has the spicy flavors I'm not crazy about.
It tastes like chili to me, like turtle chili. I was like, where have I had this before? Oh, yeah, that tastes like chili.
It's like real dark and
heavy,
strong flavor.
So the Parish, they have it every once in a while. I don't know if they have it all the time here in town, turtle soup. And I've heard it's like Mikey orders it, and he says it's pretty good. I don't know.
Did it have a lot of like clove or something, or?
It had, yeah, to me, it tasted like spices you would put in chili, and it was dark, almost like a mole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't red. It didn't look like chili. It just had those flavors. And so it was like, I don't know.
Do you think they started with a roux? Like it's a roux base?
Oh, yeah. I would guarantee it. It's probably a dark roux, and that's what makes it. And they use a seafood broth, or I don't know, they might have boiled that old turtle shell. It wasn't the best soup I ever had. I wouldn't say it's bad. It just tastes like chili.
What's your favorite soup?
Ooh, favorite soup.
I'm going to guess vegetable.
Enchilada?
Oh, yeah.
White chicken enchilada soup or white chicken chili. Does chilies count?
That white chicken chili is a soup.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a soup. That's a good one. But I like a good, I like a pho or something with some flavor that's different.
Is ramen
vegetable soup? Ramen, it's broth. It's kind of like soup. But that's something with a lot of flavor that I can put toppings on. That's usually what I'm going to go for. I mean, vegetable soup's okay. Chicken noodle soup's okay, but they're nothing special. But when you get one of these where they really built some flavors and it's all about the flavors in the broth. Like gumbo. I love gumbo. But it develops over that day long cooking it. Man, it's so good.
You haven't cooked gumbo in a minute.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah, it's gumbo time.
Deer season always. That's what we have. We do soups and stews and chicken and dumplings,
one pot,
chilies and stuff like that we can do in one pot. Have you ever had that lasagna soup?
That one's on my list.
That's a good one.
I've done it before in like a crock pot, but it's been a minute.
Yeah, that's a really good one. It's a good soup.
Tom Kai, that Thai coconut soup. Yeah, that one's one of my favorite. That one's one that has a lot of flavor.
A lot of different complex. Yeah, it's fresh and it's kind of complex with the coconut flavor going on, and it's creamy though because they use milk in it, and it's
got like lemongrass in it, and cilantro.
So you've got a lot of fresh flavors going on. A lot of times I'll put that Thai basil on it, so it's got another fresh layer. And it has a little citrus, I guess, from lime or something in it. It's a really good soup.
I also love a good like she crab soup or lobster bisque. Or
you can't, you have to categorize them out to say your favorite.
Yeah.
Because if I have to go throw in lobster bisque in there, I don't know if it gets any better.
It's like butter. Butter, cream, and lobster.
That's the one, man. Oh, look. God. Even like, what's the Brazilian restaurant? Texas de Brazil.
Yeah.
They have like the little food bar you go to. It's a basic lobster bisque. It is so good.
One soup that I've never been able to cook was the broccoli cheese soup. Every time I did it, it was always bitter. And I never could figure out.
That's one of my least favorite ones. Oh, potato soup. I love potato soup because you can top it.
I love potato soup because you know what you
Sour
use?
cream, cheese, more bacon.
Get you some potato flakes, like mashed potato flakes, and it thickens potato soup and gives it a potato flavor. It's really good.
Talk about like the instant potatoes?
Instant potato flakes.
And that's your thickening agent? Yeah, I've seen people use that in other stuff to thicken it. Like you got something you done made runny, just you ain't gonna tell. Just put a little put a little
flake in there.
Yeah, my mom used to do that. That was a trick. Like even if like chicken and dumplings was too runny or something, she'll thicken them up.
That's a good idea, though.
It's a thickener for sure.
And you don't get.
I guess it's just potato starch when you think about it. That's all it is.
And you
make it thick enough, and it turns it into like school or KFC style potatoes, which aren't bad with the gravy and butter.
I love instant mashed potatoes. Something about them, it just tastes buttery and processed. I love it. Yeah, egg drop soup, sweet and sour soup.
They're okay. What's the little one that they bring to you before you eat, like hibachi? It's just clear soup. Is that what they call it?
Miso, maybe?
No, I don't like the miso. It's too fishy. It's clear soup. I think it's called clear soup. It'll usually have like a mushroom and maybe some green onion, and that's about it. I mean,
usually it has like
square
tofu.
Yeah. Why is that little soup so good? It's probably just onion broth. Is all it is, pretty much.
If it's done right, it's a good seasoning.
It doesn't stack up to a bisque.
No.
I don't even know how I'd rank them. Like, when you throw bisque in the equation, it's like white chicken, chili, or enchilada soup, a bisque.
Do you like an oyster? What's that one oyster? It's like a chowder.
Yeah, I like chowders, but that's not my favorite. The oyster, I'd like a seafood chowder with shrimp, but crawfish chowder, man, it's good. Crawfish and corn chowder.
I don't think I've had like I've had canned oyster chowder, but I haven't had like a really good oyster chowder.
Like a New England clam chowder or something like that, or
I guess it would be clam chowder, right?
Yeah, that's one that's everybody does.
So, talking about the community. So my community post, I made a post in the community and it got flagged.
Was it the one about the cornbread?
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious when you showed me that little meme.
So it's a picture of like a meat and three plate. Like it's green beans, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, like
rice with chicken, all that chicken and gravy.
It just looks like a good meat and three. And then it's got a little cornbread there and a cupcake wrapper.
What do you call those?
Cornbread?
No,
cakes?
it's a cupcake liner.
Yeah, a cupcake liner.
Yeah.
So it's all sitting there and somebody says, "What's the one thing you'd take off this plate?" And somebody responded, "The panties off that cornbread."
I thought that was hilarious. So you shared it and it got flagged as what?
I don't know.
What was it? Yeah.
I guess it said panties.
If you'd have been okay if you just said take the drawers off that cornbread. If you need to edit that post.
I feel like panties is way funnier because that means I'm fixing to get in there.
The bloomers. That's true. Oh man.
So yeah.
That was a funny one.
I was corrected. There is a Thanksgiving movie. Somebody let me know that Son-in-Law.
Oh, the Pauly Shore movie.
And Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, but yeah.
That's a Thanksgiving. I thought that was.
I know. When you think about
trying
it.
to get home for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, he goes.
No, he was a traveling salesman. That's a pretty good movie too. Both of those are.
Yeah, Son-in-Law. I love Son-in-Law.
That's one of Pauly Shore's better movies.
I agree.
He's driving the combine.
That and the Caveman, Encino Man.
Yeah, he was an Encino Man.
Okay, Jim, he has a question. So he's got some large boneless turkey breasts. He's considering, but he always does that, but he's considering adding a regular turkey in addition to the boneless breast this year. Any thoughts on temperature? He would usually smoke at 275, but you suggest 350 for crispy skin.
Yep.
Any thoughts on 350 with the breast in it? Because he's going to cook.
You can do it at the same time. It wouldn't matter. It'd be fine.
So
it wouldn't be a problem at all.
Just kind of check your times and monitor your temps.
Or, there's going to be a hot spot on your smoker. You could keep that turkey or the whole turkey closer to it and kind of meet it halfway. Instead of doing 350, back it down to like 320, 315, something like that. But 300 is going to give you good skin too. But if you want it the crispiest it could be, the 350 works. And I haven't experimented, but I haven't done it on a smoker like pellet grill or something like that where I like to cook on a higher temp. But I know the rotisserie were running way higher, and the skin on it was phenomenal. But it's a hot skin, like it's gonna bust it, it's gonna crackle. But the skin's really, really good. It's just not a pretty bird. That one hadn't come out yet. That'll come out sometime here before Thanksgiving too.
Next
rotisserie,
week,
yeah. But the rotisserie of all of them, it might have tasted better than the breast because they got me to thinking, could a rotisserie, like one of those breasts cooked on a rotisserie? Oh man, I bet it'd be good.
Do you think you'd have to leave the skin on?
I don't know, but you could. That's a good way to do it.
You could cook it as one big unit.
I don't know.
That would be too much.
And it'd be harder to skewer like that. Like there's nothing to hold it because those two breasts are separated. I would want to kind of wrap, if you could wrap all of it in skin some kind of way, or take skin off a chicken and wrap it around. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how it would work. But you could definitely wrap one of them with the skin that comes off.
Yeah, pull one of them off the skin. That could be your
rotisserie one, and then the smaller one, just smoke it like normal. But I bet it would be good just boneless, skinless rotating. Put it on there.
I want you to try doing that turkey breast with the skin on rotisserie style.
Yeah.
I know that gets a little complicated.
So the skin, so you could actually eat the skin?
Yeah.
I've never tried to.
Because that skin's pretty thick, isn't it?
It's got a big, thick layer of fat on it, so you're going to have to render that. But the heat on the rotisserie is going to do that for you.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's going to get it crispy. But it would be harder. Like that bird's got so much fat on it. Man, it would take it a while to render on a regular pit, like at 275. I don't know if you'd ever get it all the way to where it was, perfect. Because it's so thick. You'd have to scrape. If you scrape the fat, like, that might be, you could do that for me.
I don't do that anymore.
You don't. You've graduated beyond the chicken scraping. I'll give you that.
So Wendy posted in the community, they have a cat. Do you know what they named the cat?
No. What is it?
Malcolm.
The Malcom. I hope it's one of them big fat Cheshires. Like, the ones you see people picking up. It's a monster cat.
40-pound cat.
Yeah, 40-pound cat.
No, just regular old cat.
It's just a regular old cat. He's either that or like an alley cat.
You got a cat named after you.
That's pretty cool.
So Greg said he stopped by the Butcher Shoppe, pick up a few things, and it was hump day.
I know where this is going. Great day to buy some Camel, right?
So he bought a Camel tenderloin, and he's doing a Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
And he's planning on doing that.
Bacon wrapped camel loin.
He's going to do a barbecue charcuterie board. I love that idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess the Camel
will be a highlight on it. Oh, I might have to slip that in somewhere. That'd be a good place to slip it in on people too.
On a board?
Yeah, because
where people are going,
stuff. Yeah,
what's this?
Oh man, I really like to say it. Don't even say nothing. Don't even say anything of what it is. Which of these did you like the best?
I don't know why you're so scared of it.
What day is it?
Mike.
That's what I think of. Have you seen a camel?
Yeah, their knees bend weird.
It doesn't look like something I want to eat.
Can't mess with the knees.
Yeah.
They bend weird. All right. Joseph asked, if you had $1,200 to spend on a pellet smoker, where would you go? What would you do? What would you pick?
$1,200.
$1,200.
A Mammoth is pretty cool for $1,000.
Grilla.
Yeah. But I'm also thinking what I could buy and still have enough money to stock my freezer with.
So you're going to try to keep it like...
I'm going to keep, because I don't think there's a big difference in spending $1,200 on one or spending $700-800 on one.
So you're saying that's the same ballpark?
Yeah. So I'd probably would. I mean, I'm a little biased because I've been cooking on these grillers for a minute, but for the price point, that's awful hard to beat. Because you're going to get about the same thing. I mean, Rectech's good. Traeger's good.
Could you get into one of those good Traegers for $1,200?
No, you couldn't. See, you'd
have to step on up.
You're going to, they're over $2 now. So, you're out of those, a midline. You're not going to get a middle of the road one.
I wouldn't get.
Well, I would call $1,000, around $1,000 a middle of the road pellet grill. And so, I mean, at that point, like you can find one with Wi-Fi. You can find one with multiple controllers where you can switch them or whatever and run, what is it, PID or the new one or whatever they call it, where it fluctuates or don't fluctuate. So there's some features in there, and you can get them with the thermometers, all that stuff on them. So there's definitely some features you can get for right around $1,000 on them. But that's probably where I would be leaning to. I would go to something where, excuse me. I would go to something where I was getting a decent pit for the money, but it was also going to leave me some excess, because I don't think you need to just, I got $1,200. I got to spend $1,200. Look at the other options and weigh them and see, because for $1,200, I mean, you could buy you a pellet grill and a Weber, no problem. You could probably buy you a pellet grill and a drum, to where or a Blackstone, or get something to go with it, other than just spending $1,200 on one pellet grill. Because I feel like if you had, you give me a pellet grill, a Weber kettle, and a flat top of some sort, I've got me an outdoor kitchen. I can do whatever I want with it.
Maybe throw a drum in there.
But I could smoke on the pellet grill.
Yeah.
I can set up that Weber to smoke if I want to.
Yeah.
But I can't grill on the pellet grill. I mean, you can, but it's not.
You're not going to cook a ribeye on there.
No way. You're not going to cook as good a ribeye on there. You can definitely cook one, but it's not going to be near as good. But if I got that Weber kettle, and I've only spent $130 on that, 150 tops, you can probably catch one on sale cheaper than that. I've got $800 pellet grill, another $150 on a Weber. You still got $250. I know you can get a Blackstone for under $200. So you got room to buy you some meat still with. Chicken, ribs, pork. You probably ain't gonna get too much brisket with that left over, but you can get you some stuff to get started. A bunch of chubs of bologna.
They don't sell those everywhere.
No, yeah.
That's a Southern thing. Did you see the apple cheesecake tacos in the? Do you remember that?
No, but that sounds good.
It looked really good. Do you remember that recipe you did that was like, I think it was peaches. It was a peach nacho.
Yeah. With where I used the chips for flour tortillas. Did they use those in like a taco shell?
Kinda, yeah. It was like, it looked like they had used a tortilla instead of cutting them, fried them and shaped them like a shell, and they had cinnamon, I'm guessing cinnamon sugared them, and then filled the inside, and then with like a, kind of like you did, like a cream cheese. You didn't use cream cheese. You used ice cream, right?
Yeah. But so they did. So when you're saying that, I'm thinking they took
and it could have been ice cream in there.
It was probably like cream cheese, powdered sugar.
Ooh, yeah.
Because it had to have a thickness to it. It wasn't like a smooth icing. I could see that being like your base layer, and then you put apple topping on top. Mm-hmm. That sounds really good.
They looked really good.
You could do that with egg rolls. Deep fry them, roll them up. That'd be good too.
Like an apple.
Be like a
apple cheesecake egg roll.
Yeah, something like that.
Ooh.
Do real good. Tacos is a great idea too, though.
Yeah, dessert taco.
Dessert tacos. I don't think I've ever had a dessert taco. I've had a banana dog. It's like where you take a piece of white bread and put a banana and put peanut butter on it, and then put a banana in it and fold it up.
Well, I used to make them for Mike all the time, but I would use hot dog buns.
Yeah, we'd use hot dog buns.
Banana, peanut butter, and then a drizzle of honey. He loved banana dogs.
He loved them. Grew up eating banana dogs.
Well, Mal, that's all I have for you today.
All right. Well, hey, y'all better go ahead and buy them turkeys, because it's about time that we got our chart out.
Yeah.
It'll be next week. You'll need to start thinking about getting those big birds out.
It's actually this weekend. You need to go buy them.
Yeah. No, you need to buy them this week. So, but we'll have at least one more turkey recipe coming out, and then we're going to have some sides coming out before to give you some ideas on something I did. Man, I'm just going to tell you, we'll talk about this next week, but I did a green bean casserole, or my take on one. God, that joker was so good.
That's the best I don't like I always turn my nose up at green bean casserole because they're boring. They're bland usually, Yours was fire.
We'll talk about
And it was pretty classic. You just
added a little stuff to it. It's amazing what cheese will do for a dish. All right.
If you go check out the community.
There you go.
Tyler's not here to give you the spiel. Go check out the Let's Get to Cooking community. That's where we connect with everybody. And a lot of times we get questions for me to ask Malcolm.
Let's see those turkeys, man. I want to see those.
It's time to start putting turkeys up.
If you're cooking a Kevin turkey, take a picture of it, put it on there.
Tag Kevin.
Tag him. He'd love to see it.
If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram and TikTok. If you'd like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course, YouTube.
All right. Well, hey, we will be back next week because I'm going to Nashville to pull them Vikings through. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, we are going to Nashville Sunday.
Yep.
We're going to be back next week, and then the next week's Thanksgiving. We'll be off.
Wow, there's November almost.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, it's been fun. We'll see y'all next time. We gone.